you don't mind, we'll talk a little bit about the kind of price percentage that you're saving here. I mean, people, obviously, there's still a big demand for HD, and they want to go HD, but their budgets are limited. I mean, we're in a tough economic time right now. What I'm hearing, though, is that when if you scrimp on the camera and you, let's say, buy a camera with a 1/3 inch chip or a 1/2 inch chip, you're spending less money, but that camera might not have the life that these kind of cameras are going to have. So I want to talk a little bit about how much you will save, perhaps, cost-wise. Is it 40%, 50%?
Well,
and does it last longer because it has such high-quality components inside?
Trying to create a right-sized enterprise for this millennia, is difficult. And one of the conscious choices that Sony has made is to still have the same size service organization that we've always had. So what we want to be able to do is provide an extremely capable service network that has experts in camera technology and VTR technology and storage technology, and not treat those customers like they're a consumer customer. It's completely different. We realize that you can't have a switcher down for a day or two. They're critical mission things. So we design the products to be serviced easy, to have a common core engine, to provide a technician very, very quick diagnostics. And the next generation of that is most of what we have now has 10-base T connector on it, so you'd be able to plug in and get it remotely diagnosed by a Sony technician, and do it that way. So that's really one part of it. The other thing is we have an enormous amount of respect for the business, and we can't give you a business tool that you can't rely on and that you're going to need to replace in 5 years. And a lot of the installations where we're selling this new camera system, as well as our higher end camera system, we're pushing aside 17-year-old Sony SD cameras to do the demo with the new HD camera. And the funny thing is that the remote control panels and the connectivity is the same.
They work?
They work. Wow. So with software upgrades, of course, and a little bit of TLC, but the whole thing is we realize that this is a generational experience and not a Band-Aid, for example. We've taken that same idea in the film industry, where we've introduced the F-35. So you have a $17,000 red that has a 35mm sized imager, and you can have that depth of field. Well, with that you get this science experiment. That's the rest of it. With Sony 35mm, we've worked with Panavision for a number of years in trying to provide a tool that will allow you to perfect the business of filmmaking with a workflow that works, that really permeates everything that we try to do.
Great. So to recap then, we've got two new cameras in the line. It's the HSC 300 and the HXC 100. Give us a little quick, short description of the difference in the two cameras.
The 300 was designed for customers who had Sony BVP series cameras. So the higher end remote control panels, large lens adapters. With those large lens adapters, wanted to use a 7-inch or greater sized viewfinder, but the big thing is it's a network-based camera, so it's got the connectivity of the broadcast series. The HXC 100 is basically a camera tethered to a CCU for very simple operation, point to point. I don't have somebody of the skill level to operate a master setup unit and do things over a network.
But you can still use it in a multi-camera situation.
You can.
You can have 3 100s, let's say.
They just don't talk to each other.
Can you gen lock them together?
Yes. Full CCU, full outputs, everything that a broadcaster or cablecaster or anybody who needs a live multi-camera environment would expect.
Great. And I noticed that the new series includes a switcher, a production switcher. Are you finding that the people are buying both camera and switcher together, or does it make sense to buy the camera by itself, or do you want to have a package?
You're asking a marketer, would you like to buy more Sony or not? We try to create a whole family, this HD Studio family, if you will. It's a lower cost than BVM monitoring system with the PVM and Luma line, the camera overall, and the switcher. We are known for very high-end, very complex switchers. So 4ME, multiple DME effects, and we hadn't really built a midline switcher. What the key ask from the broadcasters was, look, we can't spend $400,000. We love your product, but we can't spend $400,000 for it. What we'd like to do is have something that's scaled back, that would match with a lower cost replacement for our SD cameras now.
Right.
And we'd also like to have an automation complement to it. And
Okay.
notice the cover of BE recently was automate or die, and
Right.
unfortunately that really is the case. So to get a revenue model going forward for the broadcaster, automation is a big part of that. So we wanted a low-cost switcher with a lot of features, but doesn't need the DMEs and keyers that our larger boards would need.
Okay.
Again, the operation is a little scaled down, and it has been built on the backbone to automate it.
Great. But I guess what I was getting at, if I have a studio, it's an existing studio with an older switcher and older cameras, if I bring in a couple of 300s, just the cameras, is my setup immediately better?
An HD camera with an HD lens will produce a better SD picture than an SD camera.
Okay. So if I'm
That's-
incrementally upgrading my studio, I want to start with the cameras probably.
Yeah, or start with your larger infrastructure
Okay.
projects. You probably need a router first, and then
Okay. That's
something to handle the whole backbone of it. But we can help you with all of that.
Okay.
So, no problem.
There you go. Well, this has been Mike Radacelli with HDCameraGuide.com, speaking today with Rob Willix at Sony. Thank you, Rob.
Anytime.